Today we're going to take a look at the composite settings window. Now there's two ways to get to composite settings. You have your final composite settings that you'll do per image, but then you also have your default settings. And first we're going to go to our default settings. So I'm going to go to my advanced button under my print quality settings. And that's going to bring up my composite settings window. Now there's a simple mode and an advanced mode. Simple mode is just doing simple color printing, no texture printing, and it's white underneath color if you want white, and then optional clear layer on top. But we're going to focus here on just the advanced settings because this is mostly where you're going to spend your time when you're doing more complex jobs that contain textures and whatnot. So when we have nothing on the screen and we choose our advanced button, this window allows us to set the default settings that we want to see for each image. So if I typically run a clear layer, then I can have that set there. If I don't, I can get rid of it. And I have my white layer, my color layer. If I don't typically run white either, I can just have it come up as a color layer by default. I can set my fast texture mode, whether I want to finish that texture to finish in white or to finish in black. Set that preference here. And my quality mode, quality or speed. Quality is running your white and your color as separate layers. Speed is running white and color together. I typically run in quality mode, so I'm going to leave that there. I'm just going to leave my color layer here, and we'll set those as our defaults by saying OK. Now, if I were to bring an image onto the screen and right mouse click, go to my composite settings, you'll see that my color layer being set, that became my default. So that's the only thing I have layer-wise in this image set. So I'm going to hit cancel, and we'll go quickly build a texture file for this. So I'm going to go to my depth mask menu and have it generate a texture. Not going to make any settings. I'm just going to say apply. And we're going to go back to those composite settings. And we can see now that it put the emboss layer in place. It's the top on the list. We run from top to bottom. So emboss would print first, followed by your color layer. Default number of passes, but this can be changed obviously from the arrows here or typing in. And if I want to add some layers, I just come down to my plus key here, hit plus, and say, what do I want to add? So I want to add a white layer. Sure. Add my white, and then I can just drag and drop it to the position I want it to be. So now I have emboss, white, and color. If I wanted to add a clear layer, go down to clear, hit OK, and now I have a clear layer. So that's all it takes to add or remove layers per image. Now this is a per image basis. So let's say I'm happy with this and I say OK. And I'm going to size this image down and bring something else onto the screen. All right. Let's take a look at this image. For this image, what I want to do is go to my composite settings, and I want to manually set a couple emboss layers. So I'm going to go to my first emboss layer. You can see that it's automatically, because it's an emboss layer, it's set to file. You can't change that. I'm going to hit the little dots over here to bring up the file browser. And then this happens to be defaulting into the folder that I have these in. I'm going to go to my first texture, which is just the golf ball in the tee, and select that. And you can see how that loaded here. Now all I have to do is tell it how high I want it. I'm going to say 24 passes, which is 0.5 millimeter. And now I'm going to go and load another emboss layer. So I'm going to go add a second emboss layer. And for this one, I have another emboss layer here that I created that is just the text. I'm going to apply that, and I'm going to tell it how high I want the text to be. So let's say I want the text to be a little higher. So I'm going to set it to 32 passes. And we need those to be first. So I'll move my color layer to the bottom. And let's say I need to add a white layer in there as well. So we'll do that. And we'll have emboss, white, and color. Let's say I want to add a clear layer. So I'll add a clear layer, hit OK. And let's say for my clear layer, I don't want it to be over the whole image. I'm going to use one of those texture files for my clear layer as well. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to put clear just over the text. So I'm going to choose that as my spot gloss layer. And now we have our two emboss layers, our white layer, our color layer, and our clear layer. Once that's set the way I want, I can simply say OK, and it's going to print with those properties. So now each image contains its own properties. I have my image here with my AI depth mask. If I go to my composite settings, we can see those are its settings. And for my golf ball image here, we have a totally separate different settings. So even if each image contains emboss layers at different heights, we can still print those all at the same time. We'll break each image down to its common elements, print those, and then finish. If one image has a higher embossing than another, then those will get finished in a separate pass, and then continue on to the rest of the layers to be printed. That makes image print really powerful because it allows you to put multiple smaller jobs on the bed and print those at the same time, which will save an enormous amount of print time in the long run if you had to print those separately. All right, let's take a look at maybe one more thing. You go to Spider-Man, and I'm going to load just Spider-Man with an alpha channel. Let me scale him down, rotate him, bring him back onto the first page here. So image print, if an image doesn't print on the page, there's a layout setting that automatically builds a second page, or in this case, a separate bed. So I'm going to bring him in, and now this background is an alpha channel, so it's transparent. And if I wanted to, let's say, go ahead and emboss Spider-Man here, and I'm going to say use the alpha channel. I'm going to invert the texture, and I'm going to bring my texture up to its fullest. I'll say OK. So now, go into my composite settings. I have my emboss layer. I'll again just set my height that I want to be. And then I have my color layer. But let's say I wanted to run white before color. So I'm going to add a white layer. But I don't want white to print over this entire image. I just want white to print on top of my emboss layer on Spider-Man. So what I'm going to do is set my white to alpha. And what it does is it uses the alpha mask to determine where white's going to be put down. And same thing for clear. I could run a spot gloss layer, but if I wanted to run clear over the entire Spider-Man here, and I added a clear layer, again, I would set that clear layer to alpha, and now the clear would run only on top of Spider-Man. Or, of course, I could set that to a spot gloss layer and have it applied that way. So that's pretty much the breakdown to the composite settings menu, how each image contains its own composite settings. which makes it very powerful when printing multiple images at the same time, all with different settings. Thanks for watching this video.